Okay. You know how in season 4, Elle purposefully leaves her door open 3 inches for Hopper? And it's kind of like a grief, love, hope, mourning thing. Do you think that Dustin leaves a light on for Eddie? You know, I've said it before, but it's really important for me that in season 5, it takes Dustin's grief seriously in the same way that it did for Nancy, Joyce, and Max as the kind of like really big examples of that. And, you know, I really want him to start wearing little things like, I don't know, a leather studded bracelet or like band shirts under his button ups that kind of honor Eddie. But I think that this kind of leaving a light on thing works really well with other aspects of Dustin's character as well. A few videos back, I think it was in the one I made on Mr. Clark, I talked about how I really like that the show gives all of the nerds like a specific type of nerdiness that they really excel at. And for Dustin, it's so much science. And the idea of Dustin sort of rationalizing his grief through like science and experimentation and hypotheses and just like dedication to an experiment, I think makes a lot of sense for his character. So kind of like what I picture in terms of how this plays out is like Dustin just starts turning lights on constantly and like leaving them on, and maybe, you know, it bothers Claudia because she's like, we paid the bills here, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, turn the lights off. But so it's kind of causing problems there a little bit. And I also really specifically picture him like staying over at Steve's a lot, and Steve noticing that like late into the night, like when Steve insomniatically is awake all the time, Dustin's light's always on. And so he like talks to him being like, hey, are you like not sleeping? And Dustin's like, no, like I'm sleeping fine. It's all good. And then Steve's like, well, why is your light on? Like, are you leaving a light on? Like, do you need like a nightlight, or like you having nightmares? And he's like, no, like it's for Eddie, like in case he needs to contact us. And like, as it unpacks further, even him just being like, well, and like, did you know that like there are certain animals that like play dead when they're really stressed or their bodies are stressed out? And like, again, using science to sort of justify that perhaps Eddie is alive and would need to be able to contact them. So it's just logical to do this, Steve. Like, it's not anything like that. He's just being rational about it. And then I think there's a few ways that this could resolve. As Dustin kind of confronted and finally worked through his grief, I think it would be really nice for him to give it a place to live in just a sort of solitary memorial light. But obviously, and kind of in parallel to how no one believed Dustin when he said that Susie was real, I would love for that light to start flashing SOS one day. And if you wanted to go a step further and add vampirism, my friend pointed out what a fun inversion it is to have the nightlight, instead of keeping monsters away, be the thing that draws the monster home. So yeah, I don't know. Leaving a light on for Eddie has become one of my like primary hopes for season 5 now.